Welcome back to the booth. We're joined now by Luke Kloss, founder of Recollect. How are you doing, Luke?
Great, great.
Awesome. So, if people aren't familiar, Recollect is a service that helps alert citizens when their trash or recycling should go out. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's very simple.
Okay, so how many users do you have now, and what inspired this service?
So I think we've got several hundred people using it, mostly in Vancouver, British Columbia. To give a little background, in Vancouver, Garbage Day jumps around a lot. So every time there's a holiday, Garbage Day, moves forward one day. And in Canada, there's a lot of holidays. So, every month your Garbage Day is on a different day, and every Garbage Day it's recycling or food compost or something like that. So David Eves, a friend of mine, wrote this blog post about how to, how open data that the government releases that has normally been out there, but they release it in better formats. How that makes the citizen's life, it could make that data even more sexy, basically. And garbage data is usually not very sexy. So he kind of described in a PowerPoint mock-up this app that is, you could remind citizens when it's garbage day. And so I was at a hackathon, or to someone in a suit, I would describe it as a community collaboration event. And so I said, hey, Kevin, we should just build this thing that David talked about. And so we built it, hacked it up, and then launched it, and it ran successfully for 2 years. Best open source project I ever did because I didn't need to do any maintenance. There was almost no bug fixes, and people just used it, and they loved it. And we get really genuine, honest feedback from people that, it's like kind of a real niche app, right? Like, reminding you to take the garbage day out. Mm-hmm. But it really helps people's lives, like it's just one less thing to worry about. They can focus on other things.
So it's an application that solves a problem that citizens have using data that the government has released.
And we're pretty modest about it. It's not that a huge world-changing thing yet, but yeah.
Well, what lessons would you share from your experience at Recollect that you'd offer to other people who are thinking about building a business on top of open government data?
I guess I kind of view it as like this funnel, right? Where, like open source is good because there's no cost. You can just create ideas and kind of throw crap at the wall type of thing. So create things and then let them run and don't be rushed. Keep your costs extremely lean as possible. Try and not spend any money in building these things so that you have a long time to figure out whether it's worthwhile and how you'd charge for it and stuff. And that's kind of probably the biggest thing that we've done with Recollect is just we're not in a rush to monetize it. We don't have artificial deadlines to get stuff, to get our VCs happy or something like that. It's just you see what is genuinely useful to citizens and kind of build on that over time.
One of the things I noticed in looking at the service is that you've got multiple channels to notify people about this, right? So some of them like a tweet or email. You've also got phone calls, et cetera, and you've chosen to make some of them cost something and others not. What was the thinking behind that? And is there a business model somewhere in there?
Yeah, so philosophically we were like, if it doesn't cost us money, we shouldn't really charge for it. And for better or for worse. So email reminders, Twitter reminders, there's not significant cost to doing those. Phone call and SMS, text message, people already expect that those cost money, thanks to the wonderful telecom industries. So, and they cost us money to send that out. So that's kind of where we drew that line. And then we charge a small annual subscription fee. I think it's $6 a year or something like that to get those reminders. So it's pretty nominal, but it covers our costs. And so that's kind of one side of our business model. I'm going to be talking in a few hours on this. But basically that's kind of the citizen-funded thing. And some services citizens are willing to pay for, some not. I was at the Maker Faire in Vancouver, and I was kind of explaining to this guy. He had just signed up, and I was like, well, you can get the email, or you can get the tweet, or we'll have a robot call you. And he was like, damn, I'm getting that. So for him, the real thing was just the coolness of a robot calling him.
So is robot calling the future of government services?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe not robo-calling, but robot calling.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so maybe we'll have to debate Asimov's laws of robotics as applied to customer service.
Yeah.
So, in a broader sense, do you see other people who are interested in launching this kind of service that solves a problem learning from it? Do you think that the civic hacking community is learning from one another? And if so, what are the lessons?
I definitely have got a lot of feedback. VanTrash is kind of like one of these, Vancouver is a leading city in doing open data, and VanTrash was one of the apps that launched right then. And so a lot of people kind of hold us up as like kind of a poster child of what you can do with these things, even though, because the great thing about VanTrash and Recollect is it's such a simple, tangible example. So people can immediately connect and be like, oh, I get it. Like open data could be this abstract concept, but getting a reminder when it's garbage day, it's like, boom, that's easy, right? And when that data is more available, like we're not going to go and like manually scrape PDFs of every small town in Canada and America. But if those cities have open data and they have CSV files and KML files, yeah, we can go in there and it doesn't cost us very much, right? And we can do that. So it's a real tangible way. And then the other side is the cities, there's incentive for them to release in those formats because then they can get into platforms like us. And as more apps like VanTrash or other things, maybe, I don't know, parking reminders or where you can find a parking space, I think like the more apps that are there that try and push for open standards, cities will kind of be adopting those. So what we've done with VanTrash is after I'd scraped about 20 cities, I was like, I kind of seen like what most cities do for garbage collection. So I wrote this open spec called Tron, the Trash and Recycling Object Notation, which is like kind of a very simple JSON, GeoJSON format. And it's just like, this is, it's the simplest thing that would describe all of those. And so now when we scrape all the data from these cities, we actually emit in this Tron spec. So in theory, people could build on top of our platform, and we're now standardizing this stuff. And then what we say is, if you're a city that wants to be on the Recollect platform, if you want to pay us, we'll do it for you. You give us whatever you have and we'll make it work. But if you have the skills to transform your data into this Tron standard, we'll just scrape it and we'll pull it in. And that's been really successful for us. There was a hackathon in Nanaimo in British Columbia, and they just had this tron.txt spec file, and they were like, this is good. And so some hackers, I didn't need to talk to them. The hackers just tweaked their data, and Ladysmith, which is like a population of, I don't know, 1,000 people where Pamela Anderson's from, they have Recollect service, and I would have never done that. But because it's like an open format, they can just give it to us.
Got it. So the advice is to put your data in an open structured format?
Yeah.
And in general, when you're looking at trash data, how much do you have to clean out?
It really varies. So like City of Edmonton, they have a proper open data portal. They were really easy to do. Other cities, it's not even possible for us to do it. If the city has like this black box style where you have to enter your address, some magic happens on their back end and they tell you what the schedule is, it's not possible for us to scrape it. So in other cities, there's PDFs, and then I can go to Google Maps and I click it and draw it around there. So
cool. So last question. I was looking through your tweet stream and I saw that you're proposing a lightning talk on citizen-run open source fuel distribution for world domination.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me more. What's the story?
Well, I'm on the board of directors for the Vancouver Biodiesel Co-op.
Okay.
And right now there's this, as someone that like automates things and writes code, I see this process of what they do, the administration staff, and there's like these binders of credit card numbers and binders of like, and then they print things out and there's an hour of it copy and paste in Excel, and I was just like, this is crazy. So I'm writing a system that will read the card lock and automatically process their payments for when our members come up and buy biodiesel. And then send them an email and just kind of handles all that. So that's kind of the automation aspect. But then what we can do is we can take open source hardware like Arduino and stuff like that. We can take a trailer, we can put a 4,000 liter tank on it, little GPS modem, card lock pump, cell modem, and then we can just drop these tanks wherever. Interesting thing about fuel things is that if you have a fuel tank and you put it on a truck and it has a license plate, there's like no significant regulation. If you like mount it on the ground, they're like, oh my God, it's biodiesel, what is that? And they don't know what to do with it.
Okay.
So we want to put these things on trucks, on trailers. We can drop them off in the Fraser Valley or in different areas and sell more biodiesel.
Be interested to see how that rolls out. Yeah. Awesome. So again, this was Luke Kloss. He's the founder of Recollect. You can check it out, recollect.net.